What's going on? So this video is, it's really hard to think of a title of what I'm going to be talking about. But, people always say, when do you have time to read books? When do you have, I am learning all the time. I'm not looking at something for the entertainment effect. And listen, people are going to be like, Charles, what does that mean? So I should never be entertained? I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is that I look at a video or I look at a situation totally different. I look at it either, how do we make this better? How do we be solution oriented? What can I learn from this? How in the future can we avoid from this happening? So I saw a video on GoPro. So it's this guy, Danny something or other. I could pull it up, but essentially he's a freestyle BMX rider that does these sick, he'll be on a pipe that's this thin, just wide enough for his tires, above a 100-foot cliff, and he goes 200 feet. And it's that's insane. So and each year he comes out with these ridiculous, he'll do a backflip off of a highway and it's just continuous. So I'll actually bring up as I'm talking about it. So there was actually and this is there's two things. I actually just thought of this. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about content within content. So within this video, I could have multiple little pieces of content. So I could take out just that one little part of a minute and produce that on YouTube. Or that's a blog post. Or that's a Facebook video post. And then I can have the full length one, which is exactly what you're watching. So what GoPro did was they had this beautiful 4 or 5 minute highlight reel of what he did that day. Then they made a blooper reel of him screwing up and falling and hitting his head and everything else. And you're like, that's insane. And it was behind the scenes. And then they actually took one piece of it, which was the ending scene. So the ending scene was him going through, I think there's a history on here. Sorry that I'm doing this instead of actually, here we go. So his name is Danny Mackinsill. So essentially, the title of it's M-A-C-A and then skill. But it's called Filming the Final Jump, GoPro, Danny, and it'll come up. So in other words, they took that piece of content and then they just broke it down. They said, Filming the Final Jump. And it was literally, they're in some faraway place, and they're talking about how to actually make this jump. And within that content, I'm watching this, and I'm getting the chills because it is fear. You're watching fear live from a guy who's about to do a backflip off of a ramp over rocks into the ocean. That's 100 feet, 150 feet in the air. It is an insane video. I'm getting the chills. I would never do that. And this guy's a professional and he had fear. So this is it. This is life. So they're scouting out the position for that he's going to do this final jump. And they don't know where it's going to be. They're scouting it out. That's us in life. We're like, oh, okay, yeah, no, I'll do that in the future. Or I'll approach those pretty girls. Or I'll start that business. Or I'll study this day. So it's in the future. It's not a big deal. It's all in the future. So this is all about lessons. And how do I equate it back to me? That's all it is that I look at this, a guy that's a professional, and I see, okay, how am I going to get this in? How am I going to bring this into my life? Charles, how do you learn so much? It's because I look at it, yes, there's an entertainment percentage of it, but there's also what's the lesson out of this? So they're scouting out the position for him to do this crazy backflip into the ocean. They finally find it. So now it's making it a little bit more real because they found where he's going to be doing it, doing the backflip, where he just goes down this short ramp, does a front flip, actually, not even a backflip, a front flip, which is even harder because you're pushing instead of pulling. Backflip is pulling, which is a lot easier. So they find it and then they build the ramp. And now it's real. And now he's on his bike with his helmet. And now, okay, great. I learned how to start a business. Now it's real. Are you going to start the business? Okay, there's the pretty girl. Are you going to go approach her? Now it's real. It's not just a concept in your mind. It's real. She's right there. Or the business is right here. Or the client is right there. Or the business call is right there. It's Monday at 9 a.m. Are you going to make your sales calls? It's real. So he's on the ramp, and he literally went up to the ramp. And it was the same thing. It's the same thing. You walk up, you're like, no, I don't want to approach that pretty girl. Or you put the phone to your ear and you're like, no, delete. I'm not going to call him right now. It's the same thing in life. It's what are the things, I know my buddy who watches this, he's a stand-up comedian or an open micer or whatever you want to call it. And it's he has the jokes, Then when he goes there, now it's real because there's a place that he could use the jokes because there's a concept then. Now it's real. He's looking at the stage and then it's like, should I go up on stage? Should I not go up on stage? So you have that like, what do I do? What do I do? And you're rocking back and forth. There's fear everywhere. It's overwhelming you. And there's a trick that I'm now using now that I got from Brian Johnson. Brian Johnson's a YouTuber, unbelievable YouTuber. And he says, when you get fearful, when your palms are sweaty, your knees aches, and whatever that Eminem song is, say, I'm excited. I'm excited. Instead of like, oh, should I talk to that client? Should I make the sales call? Should I approach that pretty girl? Should I confront this person and say, hey, listen, let's do a business deal a little bit different or negotiations or whatever? It's like, should I do it? Should I not do it? And you say, you know what? I'm excited. Instead of I'm fearful, I'm excited. So you just totally rearrange it. So the biker is on this ramp. He's about to do the front flip, and he literally was saying it. The sun was going down. He was going back and forth for 40 minutes. They were filming him 40 minutes thinking he was going to do it. So he went up to the top, and then he would go, and then literally he's on this cliff. You have to see the video. He's on this cliff that's whatever amount, and he goes up to the edge, and then he stops. He goes up to the edge, and he stops for 40 minutes. And he goes, the sun is already, it's about to set. And then he goes, and then he hits that point where he just jumps and he just does it. And that's the point that we all have to reach, where we just say, fuck it. Hey, what's up? I'm Charles. I thought you were attractive. Let's talk. Hey man, let's do a business deal. Hey, how's it going? I'm blah, blah, blah. And now you're at the open mic. And he said that. He went up to the top and he said, boom. And he just went and he just did it. And he just jumped off. And I'm getting just tense thinking about it because you have to just let go. You have to let go. That's your ego when you're just holding on. You're holding on for comfortability. And by the way, approaching a pretty girl, making a sales call, getting on a stage, publishing a book, starting a business, that's not life or death. Jumping off a ramp that's 100 feet in the air over jagged rocks into an ocean, that's life or death. And guess what he said when he was done? So he does the front flip, unreal footage, just does the front flip, lands in the ocean, over rotates, and actually like went head first and whatever. And there's divers that are there, so just in case, you know, something goes wrong, obviously. There's divers there that are filming it as well, but also for his safety. And they have it, so he gets up out of the water, he's above the water, he's treading. And what's the first thing he said? He said, that was awesome, let's do it again. How cool is that? He felt the fear and he did it anyway. He felt the sales call and it either went right or wrong and they called the next person. The approach to that pretty girl went right or wrong. That open mic night went right or wrong. But you have an elation, and that elation is deep, ancestral, that it's like hereditary. Your mind says, we did that, we survived that, we can do that again. And that's where self-development comes from, is that I've seen this situation before, let's go do it again. Let's go do it again. Let's go make another sales call. Let's go start another business. You know, like people that are uber successful, they layer their successes. And there's not things without failures. There's a highlight reel of him falling off bikes and tripping and falling and you know, you get to see the highlight reel of 4 minutes, but you see all of his falls and Band-Aids and blueberries all over his body for 15 minutes. But when you break down one area of that video, which is the final jump, and you see what he went through, that's how when you finally go to the gym, when you finally say, yes, I will, or no more, or I'm done drinking, or done smoking, or I'm done with sugar, it's going to suck. You will think about it. You will be like, no. And that's what he was doing. He was going up to the end of the ramp and then coming back. Up to the end of the ramp and coming back. And then the sun was setting and he said, I have to do it now. And it's the same thing. You have a heart attack. You have diabetes. You go through a divorce. It's like, I have to change. You go through a bankruptcy. Something happens. You're like, I need to change. So before that, you have to understand that all lessons are all around you all the time. They're all around. Break down a 4.5 minute video, and I wrote a comment about it on the video, and it's like, that's exactly what fear is. So Have an awesome day. You get a lesson out of everything in life. I'll talk to you guys soon. Leave your comments below. Hope this helped a little bit, and we'll figure out the title for this video soon. Talk to you soon.